Hi, boys and girls. We are here right next to the Allegheny Kittatinny Mountains in Sidling Hill, Pennsylvania. Sidling Hill is a cool place on the Lincoln Highway. There's like the the ghost of Bill's place. There was a really cool roadside stop called Bill's Place on the tiny little Lincoln Highway that runs right next to the gigantic Pennsylvania Turnpike. And Bill's Place started out as a tiny little gas station. And it grew and grew and grew and grew. And there was a post office and there were cabins and all this stuff. And there's a bunch of really cool postcards of Bill's Place. Well, at one point, when they were making bypasses and making roads bigger and things like that, Bill's Place, I think the site was still there. Maybe the buildings were still there. But they decided to make a special road grade for a better highway. And they chopped off a whole chunk of the mountain where Bill's Place was. I mean, it's like thin air. It's just air where Bill's Place existed. And you can find these postcards and just type in Bill's Place, Sidling Hill, Pennsylvania, Bill's Place, Lincoln Highway, and you'll get all these pictures of this cool place called Bill's Place. Well, I was crazy about Bill's Place many years ago when there was no internet, no computers, and I found stuff through postcards. I would go through boxes of postcards in thrift shops looking for diners. Then, as we drove through a state, I would find the diners and see if they were still in the towns. And a lot of times, maybe 50, 70, 80% of the time, the diners were still there. So I would find diner postcards in order to find cool old diners. And that ended up giving me the title the Diner King and the Road King. And guess what? Bam! The Diner King and the Road King is coming back, baby. All right, now, I like to do my business getting supernatural guidance. And this show is really amazing. I had a business life and a family life that was actually more run by the Holy Spirit than I realized, because my mom was baptized in the Holy Ghost in 1961, and Yahweh has spoken to me and said, you were anointed in youth with no spirit training. So, I mean, I ain't going to get all religious on you. I'm going to tell you that the God of loving kindness loves to help with business and family and support and supply. Why? Because there's a scripture that says, we work for profits in order to give to those who cannot work for profits. Ooh. So if that's a truth, then if our attitude is actually building cash flow in order to give it all away, we getting somewhere, especially if we got a business with purpose. Okay. Here we go. Quick description of the Lincoln Highway Road Gang. It starts out with a cartoon. You got a picture of the United States, and on it is a little smile. And over here at New York, there's a hand, there's an arm. And over here at San Francisco, there's a hand, there's an arm. And there's a hand. And the back of the hand says New York. And the back of the hand says San Francisco over here. And the little smile on the big United States form, the little smile, the eyes are closed, and the United States is like either sleeping or bored. And the New York hand goes, poke, poke, America, you're bored. And San Francisco says, America, your entertainments, a lot of them are very stupid. When you're bored and when there's stupid things going on, you get bored, you get sad. And then the New York side whispers, road trip. And then one of the little eyes on America opens up. And then San Francisco whispers a little bigger, road trip. And then both of them say, road trip! And America wakes up and starts nodding its head. And then this little line goes all the way across America from New York City to San Francisco. Yay! And then it's like, who's on the road trip? And then you get a flash and it's foster kids. You got a whole cool little gang of foster kids hanging out together. And then you get this cool little gang, this is all cartoon, cool little gang of motorheads and mechanics hanging out together. And then there's a big pile of cars bam, that just falls in the middle. And they pick one out and they pull it out and they restore it, pop. And one after another, pop, 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 pop. They restore it and they start driving across the country. Road trip! Now, there's a celebrity that's selected. Jay Leno, Bruce Willis, Dr. Phil. There's a celebrity or two. Adam Clayton, one of the guys from U2. I hung out with those guys back when they were young kids, 17 years old. And there's a celebrity or two. And the celebrity or two gets together with a bunch of the kids that are picked by their foster and county foster and adoption agency people. The kids are specially selected. There's kids in New York and there's kids in San Francisco. Okay, they're specially selected. And the New York kids and the celebrity or two and that team that does house makeovers. They cruise around like in the Bronx in some really rough neighborhood and they find a warehouse. And the warehouse has 3 floors. One floor is the most amazing bunkhouse that has a bunkhouse that can have the foster kids and the mechanics and Motorhead people. Some of the Motorhead people live in as mamas and papas and sisters and brothers and help the kids with their studies and schoolwork and that kind of stuff. They do the research on the cars in this amazing office zone. And then they've got an amazing kitchen, which is visited occasionally by, you know, food and culinary people that have a little bit of fame. And even somebody in music, like Pharrell Williams or something like that, is doing music and singing and street corner doo-wop and hip-hop and this and that with the kids while they're building cars. So there's a bunkhouse floor, 3 floors. There's a bunkhouse floor. There's another floor that is a total soup to nuts auto restoration shop. Amazing. Spray booth, everything. And then another floor is the mother lode. It is a whole bunch of cars picked out, given by collectors, etc., etc. And the celebrities and the kids get to go to parts yards and like pick cars out and pull things out. And some of the cars are just almost a pile of rust. You know, how are you going to do this thing, man? We're going to have to get all the parts from everywhere. And so, bam, cars are being built in New York City. And then, bam, cars are being built in San Francisco. Well, while the cars are being built and cool food is being cooked and interesting stuff is being learned and you get to see the first phase is actually building the dream, building the warehouse, and all that kind of stuff. So as the cars are being fixed, you're visiting towns on the highway. And on those towns on the highway, they are anticipating the foster kids coming to see them. And some of the people are telling about their town history. Like this one kid says, okay, my town is really weird, but like one time a year, we all go out into this field and we stand around and we throw pumpkins at each other. And that's a tradition in our town. And there's all of this cool stuff going on in all the towns, all the way along the Lincoln Highway. And there's history of the Lincoln Highway and where it crosses Route 66. And there might even be Route 66 Road Gang and Lincoln Highway Road Gang at the same time, intersecting in Illinois, which is the crossroads of the country. The first cross-country highway and the mother road, Route 66. And Route 66 is famous pretty much just because of the song. The Lincoln Highway is sort of more famous, but not as famous because it didn't have a song written about it. Whoa, it's time to write a song. So, yeah, and a contest for the song. So, while the cars are being worked on, while the kids who are in the program are being visited and they're talking about their lives and their mom and dad and how they love them and how they're a lot stronger than some other kids that got everything given to them because they really believe they're going to change the world and they want to be a part of this program because they want to help out Connie and Ralph and Mrs. Jedkins that works at the County Foster and Adoption Agency because those are the people that cared for them and helped them get a home. And we're learning all about foster kids and how cool they are and how they're just people and they're the future, like, amazing leaders and business people of this whole world. And we get to visit with the county foster and adoption agency people and see how rough their lives are and how they never get paid enough and how they just love these kids and how the epidemic of easy intimacy on the web causes people to quickly jump out of marriage and not reconcile and be in relationships really, really quickly. And the kids get ditched and ditched and ditched and dumped and ditched, and they're crying in their rooms, and it's really sad. So the epidemic of kids that are getting dumped into sadness is the reason for the Lincoln Highway Road Gang. And it's going to be such fun entertainment. The whole world is going to peek in because the world loves American roads. The world has been looking at America's highways. There it is, right out there. Zoom, zoom, swish, swish, zoom, zoom. America's highways, the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Yeah. America's first super highway, 1939, before World War II. Imitating the Autobahn, which was first. Okay, so while you're seeing the cars get built, you're visiting county foster and adoption agencies, and you're visiting a little town on the highway, and then you're back to work on this other project. Then you're hanging out with the culinary guys, and they're making a decent snack. And then you go over to these people, and they're doing studies on this other car, and they're getting information on this other car. But the cool thing is, each kid in the program, somehow, I don't know if it's by a lottery, maybe the order of the kids comes into the lottery. They go through the mother lode of all the gold that needs to be mined. The raw ore. And they pick out a car. And they are coached, advised. They are advised by the motorheads and mechanics, just like little King Josiah, who was king of the whole tribe, at 8 years old, who can still, by the spirit in him, make decisions that are best for the country. The kid gets to decide on a car. And then a kid gets to get advised on the history of the car, the custom options, how it could possibly be handled, etc., etc. And then the kid actually describes, he's the king of the project. This is called autonomy. He gets to make his own decisions with good advice. Mastery. He gets to be master over the project. Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Obviously, his purpose is to bless the other foster kids and help them and inspire them. And like, you know, since this kid is becoming a celebrity, even more important than, like, you know, America's Greatest Talent, that, like, his truth is going out into the world and helping people understand about the orphan kids and the people that are trying to help the orphan kids and what's going on with them. So when the kid comes up with the car and the overview, then the whole team attacks one car all together. And man, when a whole team of people attack one car all together, the whole car can come apart in like 2 days. Thousands of parts could just come apart in 2 days. It's so cool. And when you get a visual on that, you get to understand, you know, that a car is actually a whole bunch of different little simple projects, simple little systems that are all connected together. It's like, okay, you got a bottle and a tube and another bottle. That's the brake system. There's a bottle of oil and a tube that goes to a tiny bottle. And when you push on this bottle pushes and it presses things apart and it makes the wheel stop. You know, it's like all kinds of little systems together. That's what I used to teach when I was the car doctor. I restored British motorcycles, and I was the guy that taught people that wanted to drive a cool car, the artists and the musicians and stuff like that wanted to drive something funky like, you know, a 59 DeSoto or a, you know, 48 Hudson or something like that. And I would teach them how to, like, keep their car going. Start a maintenance log. Know the systems of your car. Know which ones are weak. Well, my alternator's really old, so I should probably have a spare alternator in my trunk in case I want to drive to Ohio. Okay, it doesn't need to be changed now, but it'd be good to have a spare. And it was only $20 or $10 in the parts yard. Yippee. So my background is Lincoln Highway historian. They had me be the keynote speaker for the conference to celebrate the reforming of the Lincoln Highway in the United States in 1992. And that guy, Brian Butko, look up Brian Butko, B-U-T-K-O. He has so many books and programs on diners and road stuff and et cetera, while I've been on my 21-year tour of the church mess in America, Brian has done all this sweet stuff, man. His books are so great. They're like, I mean, you can sit down with one of his books and take a whole road tour of the Lincoln Highway. And Drake Hokanson, who like just broke my heart, man. His book about the Lincoln Highway that was written back in the 80s, it inspired me so much to drive across this country on that road. I mean, that is the first great road in the great road country of this world. I mean, how cool is that? Go, Drake, go. Drake Hokanson, I am thankful for you. Woo! And I've been on tons and tons of chunks of this highway, and but this Lincoln Highway Road Gang adventure is going to be one of the greatest television and, reality TV, one of the greatest television shows that's ever happened in this whole world. I mean, I studied cinema when I was in 9th grade, and I put together a whole film. It just flowed out of me. But there was only one camera, and it got traded around to different groups. And before the semester was over, we didn't get to shoot our film. So I had my filmmaking chopped off when I was in 9th grade. But you know what? Now that I understand getting guidance from the Sweet One and having a purpose for the profits to go somewhere, I mean, I'm totally non-profit. I don't care how much I have. I can, rest in a van and meet the world. But I want to bring people together in inspiring projects that just change the world. And I'm doing that right now. Woohoo! Okay, no more church as usual. Understand how to follow those funky apostles and how to listen to the Spirit that speaks to everybody. One God. God willing, that kind of stuff. And, you can hate me and think I'm a religious fanatic, but the Lincoln Highway Road Gang will not be about religious fanaticism. You can come and check out what I do in my life if you want to. All you'll know is that I have launched a thing that causes America to get inspired to grab these kids and bring them in instead of being all weird because I don't have college tuition and how could I raise this child because I wouldn't have college tuition for him. And it's just people are just so socked in the head. It's like they got a sock over their head instead of like a funny hat like I have. So anyhow, that and much more. If you want to join the Lincoln Highway Road Gang, you better get in on the front end because some hot stuff's going to happen quick. First thing we need is cash flow to actually clear some space in personal lives to bring together a team. We need cash flow to get people out of their stuff who are fully dedicated to do around the clock, night and day work on this project with a heart for the Sweet One and for all peoples. And we need the seed money to create this amazing cartoon. Because when you see this show, the first thing that you're going to get is the whole picture in a visual that has no audio vocal necessary. You're literally going to see the whole funny program of America bored and sleeping because the entertainment is so dumb and it's so bored and so sleepy. And then somebody says road trip, and America's like, road trip? And another says road trip, and then they both go road trip, and America goes road trip. And then you see that the road trip is with motorheads and foster kids and county foster care and adoption people and historians and culinary show people and house makeover people and a couple of celebrities that are crazy about America and are tired of doing boring things and they hate ugly entertainment with all this death and gore and blood and death and gore and blood and sex and trash and more sex and trash. This is to rebuild the family with the kids and do something fun and start businesses. Seriously. Lincoln Highway Road Gang. Talk about it.